the game. You don't play to just play it. Come after me. I'm the man. I'm for you. Can't wait. Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Sideline to Sideline. I am the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, and I am in a absolutely, listen, I had a therapeutic last hour on Birds Deep, letting out a lot of emotion, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. But that's okay. I'm here now, and I'm having a tough night because I'm leading into a wild card weekend, which I didn't even want to be friggin' playing in. 5 weeks ago, we had the inside track to the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're sitting here in some crazy road wild card game. Oh, all right. Let me introduce the panel because the panel is more important. To my left, I got the Prince of Production for Sports Empire Network, the King, Kyle Edwards. How you feeling?
I mean, at least you in the wild card. I just had to sit here and watch famed head coach leave. A lot of uncertainty. I'd kill to be in the wild card weekend. Why not?
I don't know if you would. I don't know. Like, we'll debate that. Whose position you'd rather be in? Listen, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think Tampa Bay would rather be in your position in New England with the 3rd overall pick to draft their quarterback replacement, or they'd rather be in their position, winning the NFC South, and at most beating a reeling Eagles team?
I mean, that's an interesting point because Tampa Bay, is kind of in transition. But I feel like getting a playoff game is always beneficial.
Okay. Directly below me, I got the guy from the N1 podcast. Guy knows basketball. He knows football. He's a resident Packers fan from the great state of Milwaukee. I'm kidding. That's not a state. It's a joke. Roll with it. I got Brett, not guarding the 2, guarding the 3. How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. Gearing up for a great weekend of football we have ahead of us.
You got to be excited, man. You got the Love Boat getting a playoff game, the youngest team in the NFL getting some playoff experience. I mean, who cares if they get the shit kicked out of them? They're going to get some playoff experience.
That's what I'm happy about with how young we are. I think, honestly, this playoff game is even better than, a high draft pick at this point, so I'll take it.
Well, for your team, you're absolutely correct. That's why I didn't use Green Bay as an example.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. Bottom left corner, got my brother from another mother. Austin 316 says the Eagles just got their ass whooped. My man from Taking It Deep, Birds Deep, it's D. Godfrey.
What's up? All I know is even if my team's backing into the playoffs, it's still good to have playoff football here.
Okay. I don't know. We'll find out. But before we get into playoff football, because we are going to preview all 6 wild card games. This is my favorite weekend of the year, guys. This is my favorite weekend of the year. I take off every Saturday, wild card weekend. Now, it used to be 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. It used to be a lot better. I used to get games at 1, 4, and 8. But now, okay, it's 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. I can get some stuff knocked out in the morning, Saturday morning. Hey, I might even pick up a shift. I might even make some early money. But we got a lot of coaching changes. And some coaching changes that I just didn't expect. Some I expected. Obviously, you got your situation with Arthur Smith down there in Atlanta. We kind of knew that one was coming, right? They didn't even wait. They fired him at like 12:01. They're like, it's midnight. Come on in, Arthur. We're going to let you go. Obviously, Ron Rivera walking away from Washington. That was obvious. There were obvious ones. But there was one that I was right about. I told you guys last week I thought Bill Belichick would be not returning to New England. I've said that for weeks now. But 2 that I could not have called from a mile away. Let's start with Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans fired Mike Rabel. And I kind of want to talk about that for a minute because I thought it was one of the more cowardly things to do. Anybody ever watched The Office? Anybody an Office fan?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember Joe, the lady that came in after Michael left, and Amy Adams Strunk reminds me of Joe. And she makes the decision to fire Mike Rabel and then has the GM talk to the media. There'd never be a time where Jeffrey Lurie would pull that shit. Robert Kraft would never pull that shit.
Yep.
I think that's because Mike Vrabel was in on it.
Oh,
That's
probably. He probably tried to get fired because him getting fired from that situation might be a blessing for him. But
he
Mike
knew what was
Vrabel-
going on in New England. Come on, he had some ears to the ground.
Listen, you say that, but a lot of people are saying in New England, the odds-on favorite to be their next coach is not Mike Vrabel. He's second. They think they're going to hire Gerard Mayo. I don't think that's the right move.
Kraft has been in love with Mayo for like 3 years now to be the successor to Bill Belichick. I've even heard Flores being floated out there. Like Kraft wants to keep him.
Are we talking about Robert Kraft or Kraft who makes mayo? Sorry, he was just there. I had to take it.
All right, so I think that when I look at the situation that's going on there down in Tennessee, this is a terrible move. I said this before on another show, and I'll say it now. The Tennessee Titans are the worst situation to take over out of any head coaching job. Out of any one. That includes Carolina. That includes Atlanta. That includes New England. They are the worst situation to take over.
I don't think they're the worst.
Okay, give me an example. Tell me who's worse.
Carolina. Well, you're going to disagree with this.
Hold on. I
don't think they're the worst, but
Carolina? Is Carolina worst?
No.
Give me the worst.
The worst. I think it's when you don't have a quarterback. It's New England. I mean, are they going to draft the quarterback? They think so.
Is the third overall pick?
We're going with a defensive coach, though.
Oh, they have the third overall pick.
Okay.
So that's not a worse situation because they could draft a quarterback. They can get Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner. You want to argue Carolina? Don't worry. I'll feed you, baby bird.
Yeah, Carolina's there. I don't know, man. There's so much going on there. You got coach. You got, can Bryce Young get it done? Who wants to
Will
work
Levis
for
get it done? You have more faith in Will Levis or Bryce Young?
David Tepper is the worst owner in football right now.
Did you not just hear what I told you about Mr. Amy Adams Strunk?
But she doesn't have a rep like David Tepper. I mean, most people don't even know her name until this week. You know what I mean?
I had no clue who she was.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I think Vrabel was in on that. I just don't buy it. They weren't gonna fire. It just smells funky to me. Maybe he's doing them a solid.
I'm just saying the situation. Forget the funkiness of the coaching. If you were a head coach, you would rather take over the situation in Tennessee over Carolina? I would not.
I think it's more moldable.
I think it's more moldable in Carolina. I have a blue chip prospect at quarterback. I can get, and guys, before you say Bryce Young's not a blue chip prospect at quarterback, 16 out of 32 teams, half the teams in the league, had him rated as their number one quarterback coming out of college last year. He went into a situation where the coach and the offensive coordinator thought that they wanted the other guy. They wanted the other quarterback. I want to see how he looks when an offense is completely designed around him and a team, and you can marry the coach to the quarterback. So I want to see how that looks, right? I'm not writing a book on a guy that was not consensus number one, but a consensus top 2 pick. I'm not writing the book on that. I watched every measurable in college. And if you want to argue that Will Levis is a better quarterback than Bryce Young, I have some ocean front property in Idaho I'd like to sell you. Brett, tell me what situation is worse, Brett.
See, that's tough because I don't really think there is one. We can try to say Carolina, but I think that's much better. I think Bryce Young is, like you just said, still a blue chip prospect. I think he's got talent. He's put in a horrid situation with maybe the worst skill position in football, one of the worst O-lines in football, and a coach and OC that didn't want him. So And not to mention that team also on defense had one of the best passing defenses in the NFL. So overall, I think it's Tennessee, and I'm just not sure who else can compete with that one.
Kyle, what's the worst situation out of all the coaching spots?
There's one that's kind of sneaky, shaky. The Chargers one, yes, you have Herbert, but the cap situation's awful. So you're going to lose talent from that team. You're playing in a stadium where you don't really
Bad
have a home
owners.
field advantage. You have bad owners.
They all have
think
bad
that's-
owners. Almost all of them.
Well, I
The
think that's why,
The Spanos have just been.
yeah, and that's why I feel like they're shooting for the rock star coach, because you're going to have to clean up some
You're going to
issues
walk
with
into
guys leaving.
while you're right, you're going to walk into a situation with Derwin James, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Santi Samuel Jr. on the defense, Justin Herbert, and who's a consensus top 10 quarterback on anybody's perspective. You really don't have to clean up too much. Yeah, the cap situation sucks.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. They might have to say goodbye to Bosa or Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Eckler or some other
Get rid
guy.
of Eckler. Nothing against Eckler. Running backs don't have the fucking shelf life.
That's true.
Get rid of them. Replace him with a guy in the draft. I'll give you a couple guys.
Eckler's overrated. You can replace him.
I just threw Eckler out there because he's the name.
I mean,
that's
listen,
associated with the
I agree
Chargers.
with Gene about with that. The salary cap. I mean, I know as fans we think about it, but teams find more and more creative ways to get around it these days in the NFL, and it's going up next year. My thing with the Panthers is this: it's the owner, Ben Johnson. If you remember, in December, I saw articles coming out. Panthers employees secretly warning Ben Johnson not to come here. So you have employees saying to top candidates, "Don't come here." Do you? That's bad. That's bad. That's a bad culture. And the hardest thing to remove, as we just saw in Washington, is a bad owner. He's throwing beers on people. I just think
water. It was water. It was water.
Water. Still, he's a child. He's a overgrown child.
100%. But at least
and working for a guy like that, that's tough, man.
All right, we got to talk about another head coaching change that rocked the NFL world. And guys, before anyone says anything about, well, he's going to step into an advisory role. No, he's not. He got fired. Stop it. Watch his press conference. Stop believing the BS they're trying to sell you in Seattle. Seattle fired Pete Carroll. Dude, I will give you the Pete Carroll quotes from that friggin' press conference. Hold on. It's so absurd. Like, from the press conference. He goes, I'm not tired. And he was just on the radio Monday. He was just on the radio Monday talking about how he's not tired and he wants to come back and all that. Like he literally went on a tirade about he'll be back as the coach. And then 2 days later it was, well, we're gonna move on from Pete and he's gonna step into an advisory role of the team. And I don't know, bro.
I mean, I met Pete Carroll once. It was the Mark Sanchez draft. I went to the draft, stayed at the New York. Me and my buddy, stood in line overnight to go to the draft. We're getting into a cab, and this guy gets in. He's like, "Where are you guys going?" And we're like, "Holy shit, that's Pete Carroll." He's like, "Jets, Jets, Jets." And he was being sarcastic because the Jets fired him, right? And he was a coach there. But what a nice dude. Like he was just. He talked to us for like 3 minutes about the draft. Like we're just getting in and out of a cab. And this dude didn't know us at all. So my point is that guy, nothing bothers him. Nothing bothers him. So I agree with Gene. I advisory roll my ass. I think that's just a soft firing.
100%. They didn't want to fire the winningest coach in NFL in Seattle Seahawks franchise history. And yeah, dude, the quotes are insane. And I think he gets another head coaching job like immediately.
Think he wants to coach?
Yes.
I didn't see the press conference. You can kind of tell that from that.
Oh my God. He says not tired. There's no, he was very, very direct.
The only, a coach like that, right, is the type of coach you need in like a Carolina that he's large enough to combat an owner. It might not last long, but he's going to be able to punch back. You know what I mean?
The amicably agreed, dude, the comments from this presser was just so ridiculous. I was so floored listening to this press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, did you hear it?
I heard piece of it. It was like a complete 180 from the Belichick one because Belichick they amicably parted ways, and Kraft goes up there is like, "Oh, I expect Belichick to coach. He still has it in him. It's just we needed to kind of break apart here." Whereas, like you said, with Pete Carroll, it's like they're forcing him to a front office job that he's clearly not gonna take or do. And
I
I
think
don't know if that's the save face with the Seattle fans because they love Pete Carroll, but yeah, he's definitely not staying there for that.
I'm going to
I
read
think
you the statement. In an emotional farewell news conference, Carroll, reading from a prepared statement, said he and ownership have mutually agreed to set new course. However, he said he competed pretty hard to remain Seattle's coach and that he ultimately went along with their intentions. I want to make sure that that's very clear as things have shifted so quickly in most people's perspective. It's been an honor and a thrill to be part of this program. I loved every minute of it. You watched me love it. We're going to figure it out, he said of the advisor role. We don't really know right now, but I'm grateful for the intention that the organization has to try to find something that makes sense. So we'll see. I don't know. He said, now this is his quotes that he said Monday on the radio on Sports 710 a.m. I plan to be coaching this team. I told you that I love these guys, and that's what I would like to be doing and see how far I can go. I'm not worn out. I'm not tired. I'm not any of that stuff. I need to do a better job. I need to help my coaches more, and we need to do a better job of coaching. There's obviously a lot of areas for improvement. That's the quotes from Pete Carroll.
He basically said, "It's cute that you want to give me an advisory role, but nah, I'm good."
I think that him doing that is absolutely going to screw Antonio Pierce out of the Las Vegas job.
You think Pete Carroll could go?
I think Pete Carroll goes to Las Vegas.
Man,
he would be. Yeah, I mean, he would be fun to watch in Vegas.
I think I'll give you like a spin of how I think a lot of things happen. I think Pete Carroll goes to Vegas. I think Antonio Pierce takes Wink Martindale's role as the Giants' defensive coordinator. I think the Eagles offer Wink Martindale a blank check to be their defensive coordinator next year. And I think that Pete Carroll is the new coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Bill Belichick leaving has a lot of similar parallels to when Andy Reid left the Eagles.
Yeah, right.
And, people don't realize that, and you'll probably hear this as a Patriots fan later on, like, oh, you guys ran Belichick out of town. That's what they love to see the Eagles fans, which is so untrue.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure it's bittersweet. They didn't want Belichick to leave the fans, because what he brought there. But at a certain point, you have to be willing to change. And as great as he is, you could get long in the tooth.
Yep.
And he was getting long in the tooth. And I'm pretty sure he talked to Kraft and he didn't want to give up personnel responsibility. And Andy Reid really didn't want to do that either. Because, after a year here and, Lurie was all in, he got rid of their player personnel and it was pretty much Andy Reid, and he built on from down there. But the problem is you're only capable of so much in a day as a human. There's only so many minutes in a day, so many hours, and you're stretching yourself, and you're not your greatest version of yourself. And Belichick is a brilliant defensive mind, and a lot of people have a very short memory. He revolutionized the linebacker position. Lawrence Taylor was a talent that helped him do that, but that Giants defense. Bill Parcells ain't winning Super Bowls without Bill Belichick. I don't care what anybody says. I watched it as a kid growing up. Bill Parcells is great, but Belichick, he discovered him, went on, and that Browns team was good. He got fucked over. They moved that team moving, screwed him over. They had Saban on that staff. You look at that staff. Point is, if you don't have the quarterback, you don't have nothing. However, he's got to be willing to give up some power. And his next job, that's, if whoever hires him, they'd be smart to be like, hey, Bill, you could coach here, but you can't be the GM. And I think that's what it was coming down to, because those kind of bad decisions weren't going to be able to be masked by having an all-time great quarterback, calling the signals on your team. You weren't going to be able to get away with those kind of 3 tight ends in 1 year. The punter, was it a punter he took in the 5th round, or was it a kicker? I can't remember.
Kicker.
It was a kicker. The 3 tight ends in one year in the draft. I remember, didn't he take 3 in 1 year?
Weren't the tight ends Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez, and
no, not that year.
No,
There was other
Dalton Keene, Devin Asiasi, and
yeah,
talking about 3 guys that stink.
Yeah. Now
There's a
Andy
third
Reid,
one. There was a
Andy
third one,
Reid
yeah.
started to do certain things. He didn't. A lot of people don't realize that Andy Reid, he didn't draft Brian Dawkins and Jeremiah Trotter and people like that were perennial Pro Bowlers. He didn't draft good on defense, and he would have some really great draft picks, but then also he would have some stinkers like Freddie Mitchell. You know, he would have tons
Not
of them.
Freddie Boom Boom.
Yeah, Danny Watkins, the fireman in the first round.
Fireman Danny.
Yeah. So the thing is that's once he got that taken away. You know, Andy Reid
Greatest
became a better
moment of
head coach.
Freddie Mitchell's career was the press conference where he thanked his hands. That was the
yes.
greatest moment of his career. I like to thank my hands. Without you, it would not be possible. Like literally, not God, not his teammates, not his coaches. He thanked his hands in this press conference. Greatest moment ever.
For people to think that the disrespect Belichick though, and think that he only had success because of Brady, they don't know football.
Bro,
they needed each other. They needed each other. If you think that Brady would have did that without Belichick, you're wrong.
I agree.
You're wrong.
100% with what you just said.
So fine, I have a lot. So yes, I completely
Anybody
agree.
that doesn't think that doesn't know football. If you think that Tom Brady was the only reason that Pat's team was successful, I'm like, oh, see, Brady proved it, and Belichick stinks without. You're an idiot. Please stop watching football and move on to another sport.
Last year, I knew it was it for Belichick, and it was when after that Raiders game, that was so unpatriot-like. I was like, yeah, that's the beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the end.
Well, the greatest coach of all time will be relocating. I think he goes to the Washington Commanders. I'm going to give you my points just like I gave him last night. Man. I got Belichick to the Commanders.
I don't want to see that.
I have Bieniemy to the Falcons. I have Harbaugh to the Chargers, Carroll to the Vegas Raiders. I have Dan Quinn to the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm missing two. Which one?
You have Vrabel to the Patriots.
Vrabel to the Patriots.
And
I just added. The only reason I added it is because I don't know who's going to coach there. I just put Flores on the Titans because he should get hired. But I don't think the Titans will ever hire Flores. By the way, I didn't get a chance to talk about this in Bird Deep, but I want to say this real quick. The Tennessee Titans and the Carolina Panthers are making an absolute mockery of the Rooney Rule by interviewing Brian Johnson. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I will walk across the Walt Whitman Bridge in my underwear if they hire Brian Johnson as their head coach.
If that happens, I'm going to shit myself.
I'll do it too. I'll do it.
We'll get it. We'll get an aerial drone, and
no, you can walk behind me. They have it's the walkway. You can walk across the Walt Whitman.
Dude, if that happened, that's crazy. What you don't think Jim Harbaugh's going to land anywhere?
I think Jim Harbaugh,
LA with the Chargers.
The Chargers. I said that.
So
I think there's good. Listen, here's the thing about head coaching right now. I think we'll see some firings after the playoffs. I really do, and I think some coaches know that, and they're waiting till after the playoffs.
Well, that would be great. I said Ben Johnson to the Carolina Panthers too.
Okay,
Guardy 3. What's up?
Oh, I was just going to say, actually, right before we came on, Bleacher Report popped up saying that Commanders said they're out on Belichick. So,
because everybody's pushing Belichick to Atlanta. That's been the talk all day. He's going to go to Atlanta.
It could be a smokescreen, but I'm not sure.
Do you think he takes Josh McDaniels with him wherever he goes, Kyle?
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Whenever McDaniels fails as a head coach, he goes back to Belichick.
Will Steve Belichick be his defensive coordinator? His son, who is a rival competitor for worst haircut with Mark Davis.
SI.com had 5 Commanders coaching candidates with ties to the head of operations, blah, blah, blah. They said Bobby Slowick.
I can see that.
They said Mike LaFleur, Brian Johnson, which would be such a joke, Steve Wilkes, and who was the other one? Brian Johnson.
I don't see Steve Wilkes. So I'm going to tell you, I can tell you exactly what will happen here. They're going to trade up and they're going to get Caleb Williams. He's from Maryland area. I guarantee it. They're going to make a splash that way. They're going to get Caleb and they're going to get I could see Slowick being the head coach. if they're out on Belichick, because Josh Harris, the new owner, Sixers owner, Devils, boo, they suck. Anyway, he wants to make a splash. This is his first signing. He doesn't, and this could be culture changing for them. I knew Ron Rivera was going to be gone even before that. I mean, it's just time was up. Wilkes isn't going to move the needle. They're going to want some excitement. And like you say, Gene, marry the quarterback to the head coach. And I think there's a lot of guys that are in playoffs right now that as people get eliminated, you're going to see them, the interviews ramp up. And I think whoever goes to the Commanders, it's going to be an offensive head coach married to the quarterback they're going to take. I see them trading up.
Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Chicago Bears, once again, are doing the definition of insanity. I think there's no chance they don't trade Justin Fields and take Caleb Williams 1. You just guaranteed on this show that Washington is going to trade up to 1 and draft Caleb Williams. I guess one of us is going to be wrong here.
I see it differently. I see the reason why they're firing Getsy and his whole offensive coaching staff, because they want to bring someone in to work with Justin Fields that's going to better take advantage of him. I mean, listen, personally, Caleb Williams gives me Lonzo Ball vibes. I'm just saying. His dad does. I'm not completely sold on him, but that's a different conversation. But I do think that they want to make a splash in the Commanders, and I think that I see Marvin Harrison being a Bear. That's what I think. And
I'm not going to go too far on this. What I want to do is I want to go to Brett. I want to go to Kyle. You guys don't need to give every single one if you don't want to, if you don't have it big. But tell me some head coaching spots you think people land, and then we'll get into our wild card preview. Brett, I'll start with you.
Ooh,
you don't have any, it's fine. I kind of hung this topic on you.
Oh yeah, I hadn't really thought of this one.
That's fair. Kyle, do you have anybody you think goes anywhere?
I mean, I thought a couple that might be interesting would be, I thought like Slowick to Tennessee in the division. Maybe they see that as a way to hurt the Texans. I thought like Bieniemy to Atlanta. I think maybe McDonald from the Ravens to Washington if they don't get like Belichick and they miss out on some other guys. I think the Quinn to the Seahawks, I feel like that's has to happen. Like that's already done probably. And the Vrabel thing does make it interesting on Kraft because, like I said, he loves Gerard Mayo. Signed him to a long-term deal, kept him from taking the Carolina job. But then where would Vrabel go? And I kind of thought, what about Vrabel in Vegas?
I mean, it could work.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be an absolute crime. They're going to take that job away from Antonio Pierce.
I know. So dumb.
Yeah. You know what? I say Slowick in Washington, but I think they should keep Eric Bieniemy in-house and hire him as the head coach. But I don't know if they'll be smart enough to do that. But if I were the Bears, we talked about some birds deep, I would be going after Eric Bieniemy as my offensive coordinator if he's available.
I think Eric Bieniemy deserved the opportunity to become a head coach. But
I do too. I think I'm just being realistic how I think the coaching landscape plays out. And plus, what you have to factor in is Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, and Belichick being out there makes the pool that much tougher.
And Vrabel too, because Vrabel wasn't.
And Vrabel. That's. I mean, it's almost not fair to him. But I mean,
and
if
Flores.
This was, Flores,
yeah.
is he getting interviews?
Yeah, Flores got a few interviews.
Okay. Well,
so I want to ask you guys a question real quick. If you guys seen this already, you guys can ignore it and just tell me you've seen it already. But I just want to hear your opinion. There's 6 playoff games that are happening this weekend. Now, remember we do this thing, lowest ticket in-house.
Okay.
The lowest tickets as low as blank. I'm going to read you the numbers. I'm not going to go in any particular order. $77, lowest ticket in-house. 2 games are at $103. 1 game's at $53. 1 game's at $81 for the lowest ticket in the house. And 1 game's at $372, lowest ticket in the house. Anybody want to take a guess where that 372 is coming from?
Dallas.
Dallas? Okay.
That'd be my guess.
Okay.
I was going to guess Dallas too.
First playoff game back in Ford Field. The Detroit Lions are sold out. And it's $372 for the cheapest ticket in the house. You have the Stafford return We're going to get to it. We're going to do these games.
I
in
can't wait for
order.
that game.
That's the game I'm looking forward to most.
Me too.
We're going to get to it, but we're going to do these games in order. Saturday afternoon, 4:30 p.m., NBC's B Squad. They have the B Squad. Seriously, the NBC A Squad is Sunday Night Football. The Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans. Now, we just seen this game happen, Week 16. You guys remember? Houston lost the game 36-22. But no CJ Stroud.
Right.
That was the Amari Cooper going nuts game.
Okay.
What do you guys think Cleveland at Houston? This game. Kyle, I'm going to start with you. How do you see it playing out?
I mean, I think this one's interesting because Cleveland comes in as one of the hottest teams going into the playoffs. They have the defense going. Joe Flacco's killing it with the offense. But Houston, I don't know, man. D'Amico Ryan's going to have that team ready to go. Sitting here right now, I think Cleveland gets it done. But I would not be surprised because Houston, this is their first run at it. I think they'll be overhyped with it being at home. I think because Flacco and Cleveland and the veterans like Myles Garrett and guys like that, I think they'll be better set to play on the road in Houston. So I'll take Cleveland in this one.
Okay. John, I want to help you real quick. We go to ESPN.com and go under schedule, and it says the lowest ticket in house. We use the same thing every week. So actually, the Rams' cheapest ticket, $421. Yeah, maybe in your world, I go from the same website every week. So I don't need a correction on that one. Thank you. Brett, question. Browns at Texans. Who wins it?
I'll take the Browns, and I think the big key here is going to be just experience. The Browns are experienced in playoff games. The Texans are not. You have Joe Flacco. He's very experienced in playoff runs. And most of this team has a lot of experience. And not to mention, this is one tough defense to crack. This is the best. I think it's a top 5 defense. I think it's the best run defense, one of the best against the pass. So I think it's going to be close, but I think the defense comes up big, gets a clutch stop on Stroud, and the Browns come away with it.
Browns are number 1 total defense. They are also the number 1 passing defense in the NFL, and they are the number 11 rushing defense in the NFL. They're the number. This is a fun one. Scoring defense, they're a little bit lower. They are 13th scoring defense. But number 1 overall defense, yards per game. Godfrey, who you liking this one? Browns at Texans.
I don't know who to pick, but I'm going to pick the Browns because I want to see Flacco versus the Ravens so bad.
Bro, listen, the script is written, guys.
I want to see.
Written in the stars, a million miles away.
And if Flacco beats the Ravens, I could just see Kyle cracking a beer, sitting back, smoking a fatty, enjoying that moment because, like I said, it would be suicide watching Baltimore if that happened. It would be, but yeah, no, I'm going with the Browns here. It's a tough game to pick because I think like that the Houston Texans are a young team and they're not scared. Like they're not intimidated by a situation. In my opinion, is that how that D'Amico Ryans has that team playing, and I really, really like the job he's done. So they are a true wild card because I think they can win the game. However, does history repeat itself? I mean, Amari Cooper went bonkers last time they played. Now, to be fair, CJ Stroud was not in that game, if I believe. So
He wasn't.
So, it's going to be more of a competitive game than people realize. I'm going to go with the Browns here just because of their defense, but they have been giving up a lot of points. And though the game didn't count last week, but, I'm going to go with the Browns here. Defense.
I love the Browns this week because the script is already written. It's already written. I think the Browns' offensive line with Wyatt Teller, Joe Batonia, control the front. Houston's entire defensive line is questionable for the game. Like every position, questionable. Now, granted, most of them are going to play. That's not. But I think Cleveland's offensive line controls the football game. You win in the trenches, you win the football game. By the way, the Cleveland Browns have 2 of the top 4 PFF rated quarterbacks in football, and they're getting Grant Delpit back this week at safety.
Yep.
Amari Cooper's rested.
Yeah.
Sneaky
Right.
good receiver. If you think about Amari Cooper's career, he's good, but like not a lot of people. Sneaky good. I mean, he could still have blow up games like he did that week, and they got a pretty decent secondary, at least the safeties and all that in Houston. So it wasn't just like, yeah, he should have did that. I mean, he took over that game with Joe Flacco.
The biggest you got to be kidding me or stupid moment of the week. Saturday night, the Chiefs are playing the Dolphins in Arrowhead. Probably the most star-studded matchup. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Can I watch it on NBC? CBS? Fox? Nope. Streaming exclusively on Peacock. You got to be kidding me. It's a playoff game. Are you guys serious? By the way, I'm going to check something real quick. Temperature game time. I've been checking this all week, by the way. Temperature at game time for Chiefs Dolphins.
I think it was in the negatives last time I checked.
Yeah, that's last I heard. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
2024
NFL playoff weather. Dolphins Chiefs could be the coldest game in NFL history.
Nice.
It's
those
going
wetsuits
to be
out.
freezing on that Saturday night. Temperatures could get up to a high of 11 degrees.
Nice.
Yeah. Can I say this about the Dolphins?
Yeah, you can say anything you want.
I think Mike McDaniel's an overrated head coach at this point. I think like he's coming with a lot of bluster, and we're hearing about this great offense. You watched that Bills game last week. Where was that great offense at?
I gotta read this real quick. Saturday's high temperature forecast is to reach 11 degrees and dip into overnight lows of -5 degrees. At noon time, Saturday at 7 p.m., temperatures are expected to hover near 5 degrees with a wind chill of -11. The NFL record for coldest game still belongs to the 1967 NFL championship between the Cowboys and the Packers at Lambeau Field, where temperature kickoff was -13 degrees.
On the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is. Listen, I think if they're going to beat these Chiefs, they got to make them get into a shootout. They got to come out swinging. And they got to get the ball to Devin A-Chain more than 3 times in the second half, like they did last week. So, I mean, that's why I don't know what Mike McDaniels is doing sometimes. I think he just gets too cute for his own good. And, you know, if they're going to beat them, they got to force the Chiefs into a shootout, because I think the Chiefs defense will be able to effectively move Tua off of his spot and disrupt the timing and rhythm that he depends on with that type of offense. Tyreek Hill has the talent, but can Tua deliver it to him? And listen, that's not easy weather conditions to play in. We know Tyreek Hill can play in those weather conditions, but I mean, this is I really think they've hit their ceiling with Tua. They really have. I don't see them going any farther than they have in the past couple of years. You can get all the weapons you want. You need a better quarterback. Not saying he's bad, but he's really a game manager, you know, and I just don't see it happening. Their offense isn't dynamic as the Niners is, right? And you could say that about Brock Purdy. I take Purdy over Tua at this point for sure.
So give me your prediction for the game. Who wins?
Chiefs.
Kyle Edwards.
I'm going Chiefs.
Brett Gardner 3.
Oh, I think it's going to be Chiefs. I don't like Miami in the cold weather, and history's shown that they're 3-7 in their 10 coldest games in their history. So history doesn't favor the Dolphins in this one.
I was going with the Dolphins up until this past week. I 100% was picking the Dolphins. And then I read this. Xavier Howard, starting cornerback, out. Deshaun Elliott, starting safety, questionable, has not practiced this week. Javon Holland, the other safety, questionable, has not practiced this week. Raheem Mostert, questionable, has not practiced this week. Jalen Waddle, ankle, limited participant, questionable. Tyreek Hill, limited participant, ankle, quad. Jalen Ramsey, cornerback, knee, limited participant. Devin A-Chain, toe and ribs, limited participant. Teron Armstead, offensive tackle, a full participant today, but questionable. Liam Eichenberg, starting center. Well, the backup center now. Limited participant. Guys, if you want me to go a step further, how about this? The entire starting edge rushers for that Miami Dolphins team are on IR. The Dolphins have just been hit by the injury bug, and I think that it's too much for them. So I'll go with the Chiefs in this one. I think it sets up for a great matchup. You got Bradley Chubb, Jerome Baker, Jalen Phillips, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Cameron Good all listed on IR.
Wow.
Miami. But we'll see. I like the Chiefs in this one. And I think it sets up the script has another good second round matchup. Kansas City at Buffalo.
You guys hear that? Someone you know who that is? That's Jim Mora calling in. Remember Jim Mora?
Playoffs.
Playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Listen, you have to ask yourself. This is young coaches, I think, have a problem in the NFL, and I think Jim Mora's going crazy. Let's get rid of him. All right, so get out of here, Jim. I think young coaches you see year after year have play, and I think they have problems either motivating people or keeping people accountable. Nick Sirianni is one of them. Okay, last year I remember the Packers versus the Vikings. The Vikings were like, "Screw you, equipment guy. We're not going to wear right cleats," and it went horrible for them in a game. There's several instances, and like when I look at Mike McDaniel, like are all these players going to be out? Like it's the playoffs, so that's why I played that clip. Like, this is what you guys play for? I know Raheem.
They're going to play. It's just they're very injured, bro. They're very hurt.
Yeah.
By the way, we are like kind of running up against it in time, but luckily for us, the next two games on Sunday have no chance of one team winning. Sorry, Brett. The Buffalo Bills play the Pittsburgh Steelers in Buffalo. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, your time is up. Christmas is over. Buffalo by 100. Anybody object?
No.
Can Josh Allen stop throwing these fadeaway lobs to the middle of the end zone? Just stop doing that. That's the only way that Steelers will have a chance, is if he starts playing dumb and unnecessary turnovers. That's what the Steelers would need to keep up with Buffalo.
I was going to say what Kyle said. As long as Josh Allen protects the ball, this should be a blowout.
Yeah, I don't see a Sean McDermott defense, though, allowing George Pickens or Deontay Johnson to get loose in the back like they did. Like some of that offense, they produce with big plays, like good defenses, that ain't happen. I don't even care if they're down to the third string. No, seeing Sean McDermott call defense here and knowing the kind of defensive mind he is, they're absolutely going to take away that big play and be like, yeah, beat us without that. And they're going to take it away. I mean,
I think the Buffalo's defense turns over Mason Rudolph more than the Pittsburgh defense turns over Josh Allen. No TJ Watt, the best player on that Pittsburgh defense. I don't see any way Pittsburgh can win this football game.
Without TJ Watt,
he's out. He's out for the year.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I feel bad for him.
They'd have to make it to the AFC Championship game for him to have an opportunity to play. That's what they said. So that's it for that game. Do we ever really have to? We're not going to spend time there. Next game on the docket. By the way, it sucks that it's a playoff game. We're giving it that little credence, but that's okay. I'm only bringing this game up because I give it like the Steelers. I give a 1% chance. I think Josh Allen can throw the ball 16 times to Pittsburgh and still might be a close game. This game I give like a 9% chance, 10% chance. I'm almost sure the Cowboys not only win but cover and blow out the Green Bay Packers. But it is the playoffs. It is Mike McCarthy. It is Dak Prescott. So you got to kind of take a step back and be like, well, if Green Bay gets up early and it's like 10-7 or 13-10 at halftime, all bets are off. All bets are off. Because if Green Bay figures out a way to put together a drive or two early, the Dallas team will crack. If the pressure is on, they will crack. Green Bay at Dallas. I don't even want you to predict it. You're all going to pick Dallas. I know it. Even Brett will pick Dallas. I know he will. Give me your percentage that you give the Green Bay Packers of winning. How about that?
20%.
I got 9.
I was right there with Godfrey, like 15, 20%.
Now, Guardy 3, be careful. I want you to have faith in your team. So you got to go above the 20% mark. Have to.
I was going to say like 35-40.
There we go.
I think
Love it.
that's.
I love the optimism.
I think the hard part with the Packers is they use all of their weapons. We have guys like Ben Sims getting touchdowns. Bo Melton's going for 100-yard games on top of guys like Dobbs, Watson, Reed. So I think that's the hard part with Green Bay is their offense comes from anywhere, and I think they're fearless. So they could punch Dallas in the mouth early and make it interesting.
You think so? What is that? Is that porn? No, I'm just yeah, I don't know.
What that is?
Go, Pat, go.
Oh, is
know
that what that is?
That's
There we
the
go.
theme to the.
The optimism.
Oh, sorry, that's my fault. I gotta fix that. That's the theme to Love Boat.
Into the
It'll be interesting. I mean, that's a hard game to play on the road. The Cowboys do play better at home. You know, Jair Alexandra, he is playing this game, right? He's not. He
Yeah.
hasn't taken
Yeah.
any coin flips
No.
in recent. Okay, cool. So, I mean, they have a shot. I think they have a shot to cover, but I don't see Dallas losing this game. I don't. I would love for them to lose the game. That'd be great, but don't see it.
I would love it. I would love nothing more.
Say McCarthy gets too cute in playoff time, so it's possible he costs his team.
I will say this for
He's
this
fired
game.
if they lose. McCarthy will be fired.
Absolutely.
I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Rams at Lions. Hello from the other side. Matt Stafford's return in the first playoff game at Ford Field. $372 to get in the house. That Detroit crowd is going to be fired up.
Yes. Yep.
I'm picking the upset, man. I think it's too much for Detroit. Give me Stafford, give me Cup, give me Nakua, and give me the combination of Aaron Donald and Kobe on that Los Angeles Rams defense. I got the Rams winning this game in an upset, 28-27. I think the Lions miss a game-winning field goal. 48 yards.
That'd be brutal for Detroit fans. Oh, man.
I mean, if there's one team, I mean, it's how I felt like the Eagles when they lost to the Cardinals. The Jonathan Gannon, that was brutal right there. I mean, losing to Stafford's brutal. Goes and wins the Super Bowl. I see that. I think the Rams are going to win it too. I see Dan Campbell making a bonehead decision that cost his team the game. A close game. Over aggressiveness will kill him. It's going to get him. And this is the type of environment. But I will say that I don't CJ Gardner Johnson being back can help them somewhat for sure. I just don't know if they're going to be equipped enough on the defense to get after those receivers like they need to. Just don't, it's good. The game's going to play fast. I'm going on the over on this game. That's all I know. Give me the over all day.
Okay.
I know it's crazy at 51.5, but
Guardy, what?
Guardy 3. Let's get it. I got the Rams in this one, and I think it's going to be close. And I think shades of the last Lions playoff game that we saw, I think there's going to be a controversial call right at the end to set up the Rams to kick a game-winning field goal. Do we remember Brandon Pettigrew and Anthony Hitchens from the 2014 playoffs? The picked-up pass interference?
Bro, you have to tell me about that.
I think
I
that
talked about that game being fixed forever. That was terrible. That's the game in Dallas.
Yep.
They picked up the pants. They called a pass interference. It was a pass interference. It would have almost iced the game. It would have put Detroit in range to go up 10 points or 9 points, whatever it was. I think they're up 6. And it would have iced the game. And they picked it up. Oh, and that was actually the week before Dez. That was the week before. Dez caught it, but he didn't catch it.
Yeah,
which
not
is
a great
weird.
run for refs in that
Mm.
couple weeks.
They did not have a good year that year. So are we all taking the Rams, Kyle?
I'm going Lions.
There we go.
I think Goff is gonna look. This is the coach who told him he wasn't good enough. It's the organization that said you're not good enough to be our quarterback after being our Super Bowl quarterback. You know, he's found new life with Dan Campbell. I think Goff wants to show out. I think with their running attack, maybe that helps them out. I think the crowd. I just got to root for the Lions in this one.
Bro, I'm not rooting for anyone. I'm not betting on this game. The only thing I'm rooting for in this game is a good football game.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I probably am rooting for the Rams, though, because the Eagles would get the Cowboys if they win versus the 49ers. So I would love to have an opportunity to send Dallas home. But I'm not rooting for I just want a good football game. And it's going to be one of those games that I think this will be the best game of the weekend.
I hope it is. Yeah.
I think Golf just gets flustered because Donald and Kobe provide so much pressure off the middle. It keeps him moving, and I don't think he'll handle that one very well.
Well, we got the Monday Night Football game. Worst game of the weekend, probably. The Philadelphia Eagles, who have lost 5 out of the last 6 games.
That's not fair. I think the Steelers Bills is the worst game of the weekend.
You might be right. I'm very upset. You know this.
Maybe the second to worst game, but
the Buccaneers played the Eagles earlier in the season. Eagles dominated the game. Were beating them 25-3. The Bucs scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it 25-11. And the Eagles proceeded to go on a 9-minute drive and never give the ball up. I still think the Eagles win this game because I don't think Baker Mayfield has the type of offensive performance that can dice up this Eagles defense. I don't think he's an anticipatory thrower, and that's what the Eagles struggle with. The guy can get the ball out quick, that can see it before it's happening. I don't think he's got – I think the Eagles win the football game. I'm not going to lie to you. I would rather them lose this game to Tampa.
Yep.
Than to go into Dallas and get the shit kicked out of them.
Oh, please, God, I can't have that happen.
To go to San Francisco and have the Deebo Samuel wearing his black shirt. I don't know.
That's how I know. That's how I know they're gonna win. Just so I have to eat that shit. That's how I know. I know because their Eagles are gonna win. That's what it's like being an Eagles fan. They've had a lot of really recent success, but the Eagles just know how to break your heart in the most effective way possible. And that's what it's like being an Eagles fan. So I know they're going to win. People have optimism, and then we're going to run into
Saigen, win Seattle's playoff game. You jerk. I'm kidding. I love you, Saigen. He got mad. Like, you talked a lot of smack when Seattle won the game, but they don't have a playoff game this week, so I don't know what time they're playing.
Drew Lock, baby. I still can't.
Already 3. Who do you got in the game? Me and Godfrey already picked the Eagles reluctantly. I'm kind of hoping you guys both picked Tampa.
So
I wouldn't blame you if you did.
No, I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one. I kind of to Gene's point. I think Baker's had a great year, but I don't think he's the right quarterback to pick this defense apart. I think it's a close game. I think it's 23-17. Eagles move on.
Okay.
I think this is the game that, kind of like you said before another game, Gene, if the Bucs find a way to go in up at the half, look out, because all the issues the Eagles have had the past 6 weeks will start coming up. I think the locker room will start doubting itself, and we will see a happy Baker Mayfield. I don't know if I see that happening, but I'll take the Bucs. You know what? I'm gonna ride the Baker train. I think the Eagles' issues come out again, and they just, I don't know, man. Because if they lose this one, it's Sirianni's job. Because I heard ESPN talking about could Belichick end up in Philly. In order to do that, Sirianni would have to get fired.
By the way, Saigen, I love you, brother. I'm not. It's all football shit talk. I'm just busting balls. The Philadelphia Eagles cannot pick up a blitz. They cannot pick up a blitz. Todd Bowles' blitz is the 3rd most in the NFL at any coach. They're going to blitz. And by the way, there's a script to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Blitz from the right side. Make Hurts roll left. Left end plays contain. Rinse and repeat. Blitz from the right side. Make Hurts roll left. Left end plays contain. Rinse and repeat.
Bucks need to
AJ
start
still
fast.
hasn't practiced this week, by the way. AJ still has not practiced this week. Reed Blankenship has not practiced this week. He's got a groin injury. But Darius Slay was a full participant along with Devontae Smith. So we get a little bit of help. I don't know, man. I'm taking the Eagles, but I'm not happy.
I mean,
Right,
will AJ Brown play this week? What are the odds on that? I mean, they really don't know. It's truly questionable. Makes it tougher because it's Monday night, but
I think it actually makes it healthy. Swift has practiced. What are you talking about?
no, I meant
No, John Suggs. John Suggs has, bro. I love John. John, you're my guy, bro. We need to get on a show together, talk, whatever. My guy literally rips me for if I miss one take. But like, how about the national championship, John? You had Washington. I told you Michigan was going to win the game by 21 plus points. How'd that work out for you, bro? I'm always right, John. I'm not always right, but you're wrong again. Swift has practice this week. Wrong again. Guys,
Pro Bowl DeAndre Swift. No.
You do get me fired up 100%. I love you though. We have wild card weekend. I will watch all 6 games front to back because I'm an absolute degenerate. This is my favorite football weekend of the year.
Absolutely.
The script will be written though. It's 100% written in stone. You got Mahomes versus Allen in Buffalo. You got Flacco versus Lamar in Baltimore.
Can't wait.
And I think you get McVay Shanahan.
We all know Kyle's nightmare is a Ravens championship.
Oh, the worst. Yes.
So
that is my
hold on. Outside of your team, we got to make our stake right now. It's wild card weekend. I need you to give me your Super Bowl prediction, and then like who plays who wins, and then who you are rooting for outside of your team. Because I think we can all be fair and say that none of our teams are going to win the Super Bowl on this podcast. Okay, so
Yeah.
give me a quick. We got like 2 minutes. Give me a prediction on the Super Bowl. Who you think plays who, and give me a prediction on who you're rooting for. So I'll start with you, Guardy 3.
I think the 49ers win the Super Bowl. I think they beat the going to go bold here. I think they beat the Browns. And, my dream Super Bowl is actually, if the Packers don't win, Lions-Browns battle of the 0-16.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
All right, Godfrey, prediction and who you think wins.
I think it's Cowboys versus Ravens, and I think Ravens win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I hate to say that as Eagles fans, but I Kyle Shanahan finds a way to choke every year, whether it's his fault or not. He's good at it.
And who you rooting for?
I'm rooting for the Browns and the Lions. Like that's what I want to see. If that I want to see 2 teams that have never won a Super Bowl, because I know there's going to be a party like never before if one of those teams win the Super Bowl in that town.
I got a better one for you.
Ravens Cowboys would be a nightmare matchup for me. I
Yep.
can't watch that one. I will go Niners beat. I kind of want to steal Guardy 3s with the Browns, but I'll say Niners beat the Bills in the Super Bowl, and then the team I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the Texans, but I don't think they beat the Browns, so I'll root for the Browns.
I think it's going to be the 49ers over the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. And the team I'm rooting for in the Super Bowl, if it's not the Eagles, is the Buffalo Bills. Because nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia is the best fan base in the entire world. Sorry. That's it. That's all we got for you this week. Sideline to Sideline, signing out. The Godfrey, the Prince of Production, Kyle Edwards, Guardy 2. No, he's guarding the 3. I'm the NFL Genius, and we are signing out.